What's up, everybody? It is Alex the Boogeyman here, Title Boxing Club, Rochester, New York, your home of Midweek Musings. All right, and here's a little musing for you, a little something to put in the old brain box. The human body is divided into multiple halves. So what I mean is, I've got my upper body, my lower body, those are halves. I've also got my left side, my right side, those are halves. But then there's the halves we don't think about as much, which are the anterior, the front, and the posterior, which is everything in the back. So a lot of times when people box, they box only in the anterior. What I mean is the muscles being activated are only these front muscles instead of the back muscles, the glutes, the back of the legs. And you'll see this sometimes when people are close to the bag and they're doing this and everything's all tight in here. They're just using the front of the body, just that anterior. There's much power to be had in the posterior. So we have to learn how to activate all our muscles, because the more muscles we activate in concert, the more power, more efficient we're going to be striking. And you might say, well, that's all well and good, smart guy. How do I activate those muscles? Because it's easier said than done. A couple ways, and luckily they're things that we preach all the time. Rotation, for one, and bringing your weight back when you throw punches on your lead side. I will explain. First, the rotation. So a good way to do this, let's say we're throwing jab crosses, right? If you're in here and you're all tight in the front, stand back further. I want you to stand back further and rotate all the way through your jabs and crosses. I want you to get as far away from the bag as you possibly can. And when you do this, you'll find you're using your whole body more instead of just that front. So try to get further back and really rotate the shoulders. Don't lean the chest. That's a big buzz. Instead, rotate the shoulders. Now, another thing too, you can think about using the jab cross example, I'm gonna turn around and show you my back. So when we bring our hands back quickly, we wanna activate those muscles in our lats underneath the shoulder blade. So let's say I throw a cross, step is gonna tap my shoulder blade, my lat muscles, right underneath the ER, right? Those are the first muscles I wanna activate when I pull this hand back. I wanna use those muscles to pull this hand back and throw a hook, or even just bring it back to my face. Using the back muscles to retract your hands. That is part one. Part two involves punches we throw on the lead side, whether it be jabs, lead uppercuts, lead hooks, liver shots, whatever. A lot of people are only on their front foot when they throw those punches. So they throw a jab, cross, hook, their weight is still here on the front foot. And what I want to do on the hook, on any lead side punch, right? Even my jab, I want to bring it to my back foot. So I want to pull the hook, I'm pulling back to my back foot. I'm pushing off the ground and pulling back. You'll feel that in your glutes and your hips to throw that hook. And you might say, well, I have trouble hitting the bag if I'm pulling back. Open up your hooks a little bit. Or you can also step in on the jab cross hook. But make sure we're pulling back on any lead punch, whether it be, again, lead uppercut, even the jab, right? I want to put that weight on the back foot. If you do those two things, it'll help you start to activate your back. And luckily, once you start to activate your posterior side, it kind of spreads a little bit like a virus in a good way. So I want you to think about that when you're boxing. Think about your halves. Of course, we want to use the lower body too. We want to use the left side, we want to use the right side. We want to use the anterior and the posterior. Muse on that, musings. Oh wait, hold the phone here. I forgot something very important. Now, I want you to use your back, your whole body. But there's a dangerous pitfall I don't want you to fall into, which is when you're throwing punches, you're bringing your hands back behind your body. You don't want to do that generally in boxing, or at least not very far. You still want to throw punches from your face. You still want to rotate, but you don't want your hands. We see it on body shots a lot, going way out, even some uppercuts. Don't do that. Those are mega buzzes. Don't do that for sure. Now, the one tiny exception is the overhand right. Because some of those people that are just too tight in the overhand. We do want to take the elbow, not necessarily the hand. The hand's going to go a little bit, but the elbow is going to go around when we throw that overhand. So you are kind of bringing it back, maybe just for a second, but that's part of the big overhand motion. Important to remember, don't let your hands trail behind your back unless it's that split second with the overhand. Whew, I'm glad I got that in, muslings.